Hey there everybody, it's Amanda, how's it going? And today is a new video. I'm sorry it's been a minute since I've made a new video on this channel, but today we are going to talk about one of my absolute favorite Dragon Ball Z toy series of all time. This was a series of, I forget exactly how tall around these were, like 13 or so inch figures, they vary a little bit, by Banpresto. I meant to, honestly, to go back into my files and, kind of at least try to discern for you guys what the actual name of this series was, because I really don't remember. I'm just using a brush to, wipe off some of this, this dust that's all over these guys. I meant to do this ahead of time, but I forgot to, so no time like the present. But yeah, so I came across this series of figures, of which this Trunks, the Super Saiyan Trunks, is a part of. I have plenty more. I'll show you more in just a second, but let's just focus on this guy for a second because he is the first. He is the first one that I got, actually. He is not only the first one that I got, but finding this figure at a little shop it's Giftland, actually. If you've any have seen my very old Chinatown video, it's Giftland is where I found this guy. Unfortunately, Giftland actually closed down like a couple of years ago. It was really sad. I never thought it was going to happen, but at Giftland, probably around 2007, perhaps 2008, maybe, I found this guy at Giftland, and he blew my goddamn mind, like, apart. Because before that period of time, I just had absolutely no idea that they had started to make Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, what have you, toys that looked this goddamn amazing. It's really hard for me to articulate, like, just what a leap in quality this particular series represented to me as somebody that had not been following Dragon Ball toys, Dragon Ball at all, at that time for... It's hard to say, really. It's embarrassing to say, really. But I mean, I sort of had, like, just life kind of took over, and I hadn't been paying attention in years. So I hadn't been collecting. I hadn't been, but I did still have, all of my old figures from when I was in high school. Like, I originally started collecting when I was 16, and I don't know, I was maybe about 24 when I started, getting 25 probably, when I started getting, like, really interested in Dragon Ball toys again. And this was really the figure that tipped it off. So this whole series consists of, like 12, 13 or so inch vinyl Banpresto Dragon Ball Z characters. There's just so much to love about this series. One, as we'll see, it's a pretty great collection of different characters. The vinyl is just one of the greatest materials to make toys of Dragon Ball Z characters out of, because it just looks like they jumped off the fucking screen. There's something about it that is so anime accurate, just in the materials used alone. The paint jobs, the quality, I mean, these were just magnificent figures. For me also, I don't know if anybody else relates to these figures in this kind of way, but they're sort of this weird combination of looking awfully vintage in some respects. Like, there's something sort of blocky and blocky and just sort of like that resembles a lot of older Dragon Ball Z toys, while still looking so fresh and modern. I mean, by today's standards, these are not all that detailed, and they're a lot less. I mean, the sculpts are they're just not what people get like really excited about today and what's coming out today. They don't really represent how much Dragon Ball Z figures have come since these guys were released. They've sort of got like a more vintage look while having almost like something resembling the sort of Kai aesthetic that would come in a little later. This was before Kai still, but I hope you know what I mean. I don't know, I'm rambling. I'm just so happy to be talking about these guys because I really do love these figures. Okay, so this was the first one that I got, Super Saiyan Trunks. Now, I do not have a full series of these guys. I'm missing quite a few. I'll talk about the ones that I'm missing throughout. But, so there's, yes, of course, there's the Super Saiyan version of Mr. Trunks here, but there was also a regular Trunks, which was also gorgeous. I don't have him, but he, I have, you know, I've found him online at various points. He can be one of the more expensive, the regular Trunks of all of these, at least the last time I looked, which was quite some time ago, but he's worth it. I have seen him up close, and he's fucking gorgeous. He's really one of the nicer Trunks ever, in my opinion. Both of these guys are incredible, but yeah, the regular Trunks is a great figure at a great size, so if you do, you know, you're a big Trunks fan, I do think that it'd be a good thing to pick up, but this guy is quite the catch as well. So, okay, so that was the first one that I got. The second one that I got, and I think I got it like the week after the Super Saiyan Trunks because, like Trunks, this guy, Mr. Piccolo over here, was in fact also available at Giftland. In fact, I think they had more than one there at the time. And this is an amazing Piccolo figure. Let me, I've shown a lot of these in videos, in the long past. Boy, is he dusty. Really dusty, Mr. Piccolo. So let me dust him off a little bit. This figure is suffering from what I'm about to say just a little bit, and that's that with the case of a lot of vinyl figures, their limbs start to warp a little because, of course, they're like bath toys. I mean, they're hollow on the inside. So if they've been sitting in a box like this one has, he stands perfectly well on his own. But yeah, you can kind of tell there's a little bit of a crookedness that's happening, and that is kind of a problem with all vinyl figures. Certainly my AB 16-inch vinyl figures have suffered somewhat of the same fate, actually much worse, and all of mine were the Irwin reprints for the most part. But yeah, not too much to say about this guy other than he's really a beautiful Piccolo figure. Kind of would have been amazing to get a vinyl version of this with the turban and with the cape and everything. But still, I never really found much reason to complain about this Piccolo. I have a whole bunch of Piccolo figures, or I have had a bunch of more Piccolo figures that I don't have anymore. And he's never a character that I've been like really into collecting. I don't find it too difficult to let go of a lot of my Piccolo figures. But this one, this really is probably my favorite Piccolo figure of all time. He just looks so fucking badass. The only one that I could really say otherwise. Certainly my Yolanda Piccolos are very special to me. The Metacom Piccolo is pretty fucking badass, but this one is really something special. Okay, so then let's take a look at the only other one that I was able to get back at Giftland, and that is Super Saiyan Son Gohan in his father's orange gi. So this is my least favorite of all of the figures in the collection. Beautiful sculpt. That's an amazing looking, facial sculpt for a Gohan. It really is by no means a bad figure. It's a very good figure. It's a very good Gohan. It's very expressive. And I should mention, I didn't mention this at all, the only articulation that any of these figures have, I think at all, or for the most part, is the feet can be moved around a little bit. The arms are stationary, the head is stationary, and there is no, there's no waist swivel, so hence, again, the blockiness as I was describing before. And they do come on these horrible black bases that have this other little part you're supposed to put into their foot, and I absolutely fucking hate them. So I didn't even pull them out for this review, and I just sort of forget that I have them. And I like to keep it that way, just showing a little bit off on what's on his foot. Most of that is in Japanese. I cannot read it. If you can read it, then please do let me know what it says. But anyway, so it's not really so much that it's a bad figure, and I certainly don't hate it. It's just that it commits this sin that a lot of Dragon Ball figures of Gohan do, which is that, Gohan never appeared this way in any part of Dragon Ball Z that I know of anyway. And there's really quite a lot of Gohan figures where he's like this. He's in his father's gi and he is a Super Saiyan. And I really have no clue why that's the case. It really is a version of Gohan that only toy companies believe in. And it's kind of bizarre. So, of course, because it's kind of quirky, that it does endear this figure to me. So again, I don't hate it. It's just a little bit, I don't know. It's just not as gangbusters as the rest of the series. Okay, so moving onward, I have no idea at this point, which one I got next, in any kind of order. But we're gonna look at the Super Saiyan Goku, sorry, right during the Frieza battle. Beautiful, beautiful figure. I think I bought this from somebody on the Daizenshu EX, or now Kaizenshu EX, pardon me, forum years ago. And yeah, it's kind of a treat. There were a lot of Gokus in this series, and actually, having said that, I'm just going to quickly pull out the only other one that I have, which is the regular Goku. And I actually think that the regular Goku, even though this is not a bad sculpt in any way, shape, or form, the hair is a little off. But the face looks good. This body is shared by quite a number of the figures, but it works, it's good, it's nothing really to complain about too much. But I actually think this, aside from the Gohan, but for other reasons, just in terms of the sculpt itself, is probably the weakest of the whole series in some respects. I think it is the hair. The hair just kind of ruins that element of it for me, but there is one thing that makes him kind of worth it, and we'll look at that in just a second. But yeah, so this is the only other of the Gokus that I have. Out of the two, honestly, I think this is actually a rather magnificent Super Saiyan Son Goku. For lots and lots of reasons. He just looks, again, that whole sort of jumping off of the screen kind of vibe that, this series is serving. It's just real fierce with this one. What can I say? But yeah, so there was also a Super Saiyan Goku, and there was also a Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Again, not bad figures at all. They were very, very nice figures. I don't have either of them. I've had the opportunities to buy them lots of times. I just never thought it was necessary. They didn't particularly wow me. The only other two Gokus that I think were a part of this series was a Monkey King set of two figures. I mean, they didn't come together, but it was one as Goku as the Monkey King as a child, and then one of Goku as the Monkey King as an adult. And they're absolutely just beyond beautiful figures. I love, love, love those figures. Of all of the figures, actually, really honestly, of all the figures that I don't own, that I've never owned in my whole collection, those two are some of the ones that I would want the most at some other point in my life. They are magnificent. I had several opportunities to get both of those at one point, but it just never panned out. But those are, I was never quite sure if those particular releases were a part of this series, but they're very similar. They just have exactly the same aesthetic. The adult Goku, anyway, as far as I know, basically the same height as these. So yeah, there were quite a lot of Gokus in this series, but I just never, I never thought at least the Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 3 were kind of worth the fuss of picking up. Especially because the bodies are almost exactly the same. So the reason why getting the Goku, which I just dropped on the floor, is so worth it is because, it makes just an excellent set with the Ultimate Son Gohan figure, which is actually one of my absolute favorite Gohan figures of all time. This is a magnificent Gohan figure. I mean, it just captures Ultimate Gohan, about to fight Boo in such an extraordinary way. And it really, I guess it makes the absolute incredibleness of this sculpt, because it is a great sculpt, the Goku Gohan body that is shared by all of these heads, basically, it just looks the best with this Gohan head. Yeah, this Gohan is an absolute treasure, and just as a father-son set kind of thing, it's pretty magnificent. It looks great on a shelf. I used to have them displayed together quite often. But yeah, you know, of all of the, this is, if you can pick this guy up, you know, there's lots of figures in this series that I think are just absolutely worth going for, but this is one of, you know, I mean, it's a nice centerpiece to. It would make a nice centerpiece to anybody's collection, I think, honestly. It's a beautiful figure. I love that figure. So let me show you the only Vegeta that I have from this series. He is rather extraordinary. I have, of course, shown him in other videos in the long ago past. Check out this Banpresto 12-inch vinyl Majin Vegeta. So, this figure was really hard to get. I don't know if he's become more common as time has gone on, but I remember when I was actively searching for him, I mean, he really gave me a lot of trouble finding him. He's beautiful. He's a little bit, there's something kind of off in his proportion, and he looks a little strange, like of the whole blockiness thing to these figures that I keep mentioning. This figure actually might be the most kind of guilty of some of that blockiness. There's just something sort of, yeah, he really looks like a big Super Battle Collection toy in some respects, even though there is a lot of like very nice detailing, and I mean, it's a beautiful figure. There's really nothing, and it's a great face sculpt, and it's just so cool to get a big Majin Vegeta. You know, there just really hadn't, you know, the bootleg Best of DBZ series had sometimes, if you were lucky and got the one with the M on the fucking head, was like the closest thing to like a big, you know, Majin Vegeta that we'd had at that point, I think, unless I'm forgetting about something. So, again, he really is kind of a treasure of the series. If you're a big Vegeta fan, I mean, you know, of a lot of the old stuff, I mean, there's few that I would recommend, you know, shelling out for and trying to find more. It's just that smirk, and yeah, I mean, whatever little, because really, like from that height up, he's like almost perfect, but there's something weird about the legs. But it just almost doesn't matter. He's just too cool. But he is not the only Vegeta in the series, in this toy series. There is a Super Saiyan Vegeta and there is a regular Vegeta, and I again have had lots of opportunities to pick the both of those up. I just don't like them. Honestly, of all the toys of this series that I've, you know, at least just seen pictures of, he just looks very dowdy. He looks worried, and it's just like, I don't know. There's something about the way that he's got his arms folded, even though I know it's, you know, referencing, you know, an actual image from the manga or anime. Yeah, there's just something really strange. Again, I've never had the opportunity to get him up close, however. I have never actually, you know, seen or touched the figure up close and personal. So maybe up close, it's a sculpt that works. It just never, the images, again, that I've seen of it at various times just have never interested me. It just always kind of turned me off. So this is the only Vegeta that I have, but there are more. There is also a Super Saiyan Vegito and a regular Vegito. You know, to tell you the honest truth, it's the whole Vegito, you know, saga is a portion of the show that I just have not as great a familiarity with, and so I've often not been too keen on jumping at chances to get Vegito figures. I was always more partial to Gogeta anyway. But, you know, again, they do look really nice. If you're big into Vegito, those might be two figures you really want to check out. Now, the absolute gangbusters of this entire series, the two figures that I think really just solidify this series as absolutely fucking legendary, I'm about to show you now. Again, I think I've shown these in videos at some point in the past, but holy shit. You know, it's just not every series that really, big series especially, that really springs on great sculpts of some of the villains. And this Frieza, again, this Frieza, both of these were so hard to get back in the old days. I mean, it was just impossible to track these down. Again, I have no idea, if they've since become more, available, more readily available. This one actually has more articulation. This might be the most articulated one out of the whole series. The other ones that I don't own, I can't speak for, but yeah, I mean, there's his feet move and his arms move. The tail is pretty stationary. I really got to clean this guy up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I have been selling off a lot of my Dragon Ball collection, and, I did want to mention to those that have been communicating with me, I am so sorry that I haven't been able to, like, keep in contact and write back to people about sales and stuff. I mean, I tried to get the word out, but the real truth is, and I have been making videos about this on my other channel, Dragon Ball Toys, is, I have had this incredible, flare-up of what I think is carpal tunnel syndrome, and my fingers have been numb for the last couple of weeks, maybe the last 3 weeks now, and it's getting better, but it's getting better really, really slowly, and I'm being able to, but my life came to a screeching halt for, weeks on end now, and typing has been one of the worst things. I mean, just one of the most difficult things, and I just really haven't been able to do it, so it's been hard for me to keep in touch, and I lost what I was saying, but yeah, this cell, I mean, first of all, this thing is massive. It is absolutely the biggest figure in this whole series. He is detailed, he is absolutely perfect. There is something perfect about this figure. I mean, it feels, dare I attach these words to action figures, luxurious, indulgent, nubile, sensuous. There's just something about, again, that fucking vinyl, and the way this thing is painted, and just, really, 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 really feels like a piece of the anime, you're just holding in your hands. So I love these. I so wish that they had made more of these. I would have loved to have seen this series, just continue and thrive, and more characters. That would have been so amazing, if they had kept going, making these giant, really big figures of all these characters. I would have absolutely loved that. Of course, Banpresto has made a lot of Dragon Ball toys, and they continue to, and they make vinyl figures. They, they don't necessarily release them all the time, but in lots of different scales, they've made, Dragon Ball vinyl figures. They had a 5-inch series. They've done all kinds of vinyl figures. But a lot of those series, honestly, that they've come out with, they end too soon, I guess is all I'm trying to say. They're just, so many of them are brilliant. I've collected a whole lot of them, in the past, and they are just, I don't know, they are the creme de la creme of great looking Dragon Ball figures, in my opinion, in my personal taste. And so anyway, I love really hideous Dragon Ball toys, like the worst of the worst, but I also love, a lot of this stuff that just looks great, and are just such loving recreations of these characters. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed taking a look at my 12-inch, Banpresto vinyl collection set, what I have of it anyway. I absolutely know what we will be talking about next. It actually will be another Banpresto vinyl figure, but it will be a single figure next time. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed watching. I will try to make that upcoming video, in the near future, try to get some of these videos out a little bit more regularly. But anyway, so YouTube has changed. The whole private messaging system is gone now, so I will leave an email address below if you wish to contact me at all. And then I will also leave a link to my my other channel, And I don't know, if I think of anything else, I'll link it there below too. So anyway, once again, thank you so much, everybody. Take good care. All the best. Bye for now. And more soon. See ya.